From the home of NASCAR, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is ready to go road racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway's Roval. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Independence Racing Network. Here we are in the final week of the round of 12 here in the 2022 Xfinity Series playoffs, and we're getting to eliminate 4 drivers tonight before heading to Las Vegas next week. Who will come out the victor this week? Will we see a playoff driver advance and punch their ticket to the round of 8? Or will it be a road course whisperer who's not playoff eligible? Who moves on and who gets eliminated? These questions and so much more will be answered here tonight live on Facebook and YouTube. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag on the Independence Racing Network. And folks, glad to have you all with us tonight as we are here at the Charlotte Roval. Of course, the Roval, a new addition to the NASCAR circuit, something that's quote-unquote not normal if you think about it. It's kind of a hybrid between, of course, our usual ovals and our usual road courses. They've kind of married these together, and it's not completely strange. It's kind of cool. We're going to see a lot of drivers on the road course night, such as Brandon Minto here in the number 12 Upside Ford Mustang. We're going to see him work through here on this opening lap. And right now, he just passed the exit of what would normally be pit road. He's coming through a carousel now that's actually behind pit road and on the infield. As he rolls out of the carousel, he's going to start going through this little uphill section. They've definitely elevated here in the middle of the track. So something that they're able to do here on the infield, so to speak, of the NASCAR track that you can't obviously do on the oval. And as he rolls out of that infield section, he comes out onto turns 1 and 2 of the regular NASCAR oval. So here we do see Brandon Minto about a half lap through his normal NASCAR stretch. He comes down the backstretch, and right in the middle of the backstretch, smack dab in the middle, is something called a bus stop. Now we see him going over those what are called turtles or curbs that have been installed there in the middle of that backstretch. And then he rolls here into turn number 3, the NASCAR turn number 3. And the Norman, Oklahoma native now rolling out of turn 4. There is a chicane built into the front stretch here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here, you thought that it was just fancy designs maybe on the NASCAR infield here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but actually it's part of the Roval. And, of course, they also have an extreme short track. Taking a look at another driver tonight, the Motocross Supercross GOAT, Mr. Ricky Carmichael here in the 04 Monster Chevrolet Camaro. Ricky going third fastest with a 1:23.55 time on his first lap. Brings it down the backstretch here, and just as he gets to that bus stop, we can see the absolute hopping, and he holds it together, getting out of that, maybe a little loose coming out of the bus stop as he gets into turn 3. And just as you see that, the GOAT comes out of turn 4, the NASCAR turn 4, into that front chicane here on the front stretch. Manages not to touch the first curb, catches the second one, crosses the start-finish line, and we see him lay down a lap time a little slower than his first, so he will stay here in P5 for right now. Mike Wright, your points leader here, and of course, in the playoffs, points are everything. The Greensboro, North Carolina native in that number 98 Fresh Market Ford Mustang. This is a different look for him. Usually we see him in a Ford or Ford Motocraft paint scheme. We see him in the Fresh Market tonight here. Of course, it still does have Ford Performance across that back deck on the rear of this machine. Once again, welcome in. You are watching the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series here on YouTube.com and on Facebook tonight, as we get things rolling here in this elimination race at the Charlotte Roval. I'm Dave Regal. You're watching the Independence Racing Network, and we are the exclusive broadcast provider of Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action. Aaron Mack in the 31 seems to have had himself a little bit of an issue here from Fort Riley, Kansas, as he gets wound back up. Andrew Jones, not the baseball player, but the iRacer, still trying to feel out the track here on his outlap. Zach Vaughn just finishes his second lap here on the Roval and goes 12th quickest So things starting to heat up for a lot of these drivers. Bennett Allen jumps all the way up to P5 after his first lap. He rolls down into turn 1 and gets ready to take after this infield course yet again. We're going to see him here as we look through. Whoa! Bennett Allen sideways and buys the wall. That's going to invalidate that second lap without a doubt. Andrew T. Jones, on the other hand, out in just about the same area, taking his time here, trying to get a feel for the track. As, you know, something that we should probably talk about, track conditions tonight are something of a mystery. 90 degrees, the outdoor ambient air temperature here in the sim, with 54% humidity, partly cloudy, but one heck of a breeze at 17 miles per hour. That's not much of a breeze. That's quite a wind, as obviously the sim decided that we needed some leftovers from the hurricane of a couple weeks ago. Track temperature 106 degrees. Now, during practice, it was 109, so a little bit cooler, not much. Those 3 degrees not going to make much of a difference. We're going to see this track be slick and fast for a lot of these drivers. But a busy night here nonetheless for the hands of these drivers, as the Xfinity cars overall usually kind of a handful. And we see that week in and week out on the ovals, and here on the Roval, it's going to be even more pronounced, as these cars have a lot of torque at the rear end. And, you know, more likely than not, we're going to see a lot of these guys coming through almost like it's a dirt track, trying to hold it together. Taking a quick look at our point standings here, having a peek at them. Mike Wright still sitting atop the pile in first place of our playoff standings. Brandon Minto in P2. Bobby Blazer and Bennett Allen in 3 and 4. Now, Bobby Blazer has decided he is going to bow out of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series moving forward. So that will open up a slot as well. He's about the only driver here in that top 8 that would transfer on. So that opens the door, interestingly enough, for Aaron Mack or Jeff Carson. Aaron Mack and Jeff Carson both pretty quick here on the racetrack, but unfortunately, these Roval courses a lot of times can turn into a wild card race, much the same as Talladega does. I mean, anybody can win Talladega, and at the same time, there are those road course whisperers. Of course, tonight's road course whisperer, Mr. Joseph Lester in the number 18 machine. He has gone fastest on his qualifying lap. In fact, he was so fast after one lap, he decided that was it and decided to bring it back down into the pits. He ran a 1 minute, 21 second .92. So very quick for Mr. Lester, as the young man has gotten that 18 machine up into there. Quite a talented driver as well. I mean, you know, everywhere he goes, he is usually top 10 or better. And here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, no different. But as I was mentioning, Jeff Carson and Aaron Mack both very close to one another. In fact, only 9 points separate Mack and Carson in the raw points data. And Aaron Mack only 5 points behind Eugenio Alonso. So 14 total points from Carson to Alonso. That could be the deciding factor tonight as we get ready here with about 15 seconds left in qualifying here at the Charlotte Roval. You can see right here at the Roval just how things are set up. You can see here in the middle of your screen that kind of serpentine snake-looking thing here. It's like a big bubble with wiggles in it here in the middle of the track. That's going to be part of your carousel, part of your road course itself, as we get ready to grid up here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Take a look in the YouTube live chat. Leo Bonacasa, the godfather of all that is the SNN family of races, is here in the live chat, cheering on Money House Racing and giving me a shout out. Leo, always good to see you in my live chat. Glad to have you with me again tonight here, keeping an eye on this race. Of course, I'm pretty sure that he's probably sitting. He is not sitting in their Discord. So obviously he is watching solely here on YouTube.com or Facebook. Glad to have him with us tonight. Good friend of mine. And waiting for everybody to grid up now. And just like that, we're going to take a look at the qualifying results as we're waiting for Joseph Lester to get here on track. We see Joseph Lester going to be atop the pile in P1. R.P. Allen in P2. Mike Wright in third. Eugenio Alonso rolling off in fourth. Bennett Allen in fifth. Brandon Minto in sixth. Andrew T. Jones in seventh. Brad Gunn in eighth. Ricky Carmichael in ninth. Qualifying in the top 10 with Ethan Flanagan hot on his heels in 10th, rounding out the top 10. Zach Osborne here in 11th. Aaron Mack going 12th fastest with Chad Sander hot on his heels in 13th with Zachary Vaughn in the number 91 Chevrolet Camaro rolling off in 14th. Anthony Paggio in 15th. Joshua Coppernol in 16th. Mr. Chris Claude, the SNN Cup Series commissioner, rolling off in 17th with my good friend Tony Burt rolling off in 18th. Those two drivers had one heck of a finish at the end of last week's race at Talladega, and I'm hoping to see more good things out of them tonight. Alex Princeton rolling off in 19th, Michael Astuto in 20th, John Crow Sr. in 21st, Jeff Carson in 22nd, John Bawaldo III in 23rd, Corey Burkett in 24th, and starting shotgun on the field, our usual race controller on Sunday Night NASCAR's Cup Series, Mr. Alexander Gangler in the number 82 Toyota Supra, rolling off in 25th. 25 cars will take the green flag tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's see if we can pull up some of their driver info. Of course, Mr. Joseph Lester from Damascus, Virginia. The young man says, lots of people hate me, but that's just because they ain't me. Well, young man, hopefully you are not humbled by those words tonight as you get this machine all cranked up, because I'll tell you what, Joseph is a talented driver out here. Always glad to see him on track. It makes the races exciting as R.P. Allen, as Joseph takes out every blue cone on the infield. Excellent. Mike Wright here from Greensboro, North Carolina. Bennett Allen out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Eugenio Alonso, our international driver from Buenos Aires, here in the number 86 machine. Bennett Allen, brother of R.P. Allen, in the number 3 JCTV Toyota Supra. Brandon Minto, the pride of Norman, Oklahoma, here in that upside Ford Mustang. Andrew T. Jones rolling off here in 7th. Brad Gunn, Aztec, New Mexico, and Tallahassee, Florida's very own Mr. Ricky Carmichael rolling off here in 9th. Ethan Flanagan again rounding out the top 10 from Cocoa Beach. And not sure if he knows Major Healy or I Dream of Jeannie or anything about that. In fact, I'm fairly certain that that's way before Ethan's time here. It's before my time, but still quite a show there, of course, taking place in Cocoa Beach, Florida. Well, folks, as Joseph Lester brings the field into the front chicane, grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in. We are Roval racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Joseph Lester getting a good, clean start here over R.P. Allen. We're going to see those two drivers all night long going at it hammer and tongs as they are both very fast, and that discipline going to become a huge part of R.P. Allen's night in that 03 Toyota Supra. Of course, both teammates there with Money House Racing. Looks like RP gets a little nudge from the 98 as it appears that Mike Wright is going for green so far as he wants a piece of Joseph here early on in this race. The 03 now rolling out. This was Calamity Corner last night as the drivers get ready to come out into NASCAR Turn 3. Eugenio Alonso leading Bennett Allen now as we've got a three-way battle for the lead up here early on in this race. You got to keep in mind, oh, Tony Burt seems to have had an incident. Oh, and R.P. Allen working the low side now of Joseph Lester as Joseph checks up right into the front of Mike Wright. We're going to run that all the way back. Here on the opening lap, we're going to take a closer look at this for sure, as we're going to see Joseph Lester getting passed by Bennett Allen, and it looks like Bennett Allen just sent it all the way down here into that bus stop. Joseph somehow comes all the way to nearly a complete stop. Mike Wright gets into his rear and manages to bump his way past Joseph, as now Joseph Lester running in P4. Taking a look here, Bennett Allen now getting wound up behind Mike Wright, as Mike Wright chasing Bennett's brother RP down, as there's about 1.8 seconds between these two drivers. This is going to start to get hairy after a while. Trust me, folks, as everything's starting to kind of settle out here, as Ethan Flanagan working behind the GOAT Ricky Carmichael in the 04 Monster Energy Chevrolet Camaro, as Ricky now bringing it through NASCAR 1 and 2 and onto the backstretch. Let's see if Ethan gets a run on Ricky, as he is 0.3 of a second, just a little bit more behind him. Ricky bounces through, and Ethan Flanagan gets all kinds of wild coming through the bus stop, and that battle has pretty much cooled off to nothing, as Brandon Minto now side by side with Zach Osborne. We're going to keep this battle box right here in the lower side of your screen, as we also bring up your Monday Night NASCAR timing tower. Looks like Zach Osborne now trying to get a little bit closer to the rear of Brandon Minto, as we've got a four-car chain back here. And it appears that Zach Osborne trying to run away from Ethan Flanagan. Josh Coppernoll seems to have had himself an incident here. We'll run this back and see what happened. Looks like there shouldn't be too much bad damage there for Josh. As once again, it looks like Tony Burt has gone off track. We'll take a look back here. You have to understand, folks, that a lot of road racing is basically a lot of replays, because so many things happen on these courses, as we see Tony Burt here just absolutely doing some fantastic landscape work for the fine people here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You know, there's a lot of things that are going on, but the distance between some of these drivers is so great. You know, I mean, right now your battle for the lead is separated by nearly 1.7 seconds. I mean, from Mike Wright back to Bennett Allen, this is a closer battle here for second position, as Bennett chasing down Mike Wright with about 0.4 of a second. Let's see if he can get a run. I see a lot of drivers here getting the run out of turns 1 and 2, because all of a sudden you hit that oval and it's such a more comfortable feeling as a driver. And we see Bennett Allen now keeping about the same distance, as it looks like Mike Wright and Bennett Allen just going to be going at it all night long. Joseph Lester here just about 0.6 of a second behind Bennett Allen as we move through our evening here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Folks, glad to have you all with us. Keep in mind that we do stage racing here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Right now we're in lap 5, and we're working our way toward the conclusion of lap number 20. Lap number 20, of course, going to conclude stage 1. Then stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 40, as it looks like Zach Osborne just pulled over to allow Brandon Minto by, and then, that was close, as Brandon Minto nearly took out the left rear quarter panel of the 16 machine, as he does allow the 16 to get by with limited crisis here as they go into that carousel area. So the one thing that will make the stage racing, or the race here tonight, interesting will be that stage racing, as it does give a little bit of break to these drivers. It does give some time to make an adjustment, maybe think about your strategy as we move through, and of course it also gives you a break. Last night we had 55 laps in the Davis Brothers Roofing Sunday Night Cup Series, and it was 55 straight laps. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that that is a long race when you don't get to stop. Right now it looks like Michael Astuto has had himself an incident, as well as Andrew T. Jones the lap before. Let's take a look here. Michael Astuto in that number 39 Cookout Ford Mustang, just behind John Bawalda. And we see Astuto, I'll bet you this is where he buys it. He gets a little tight coming through the turn, coming uphill here. And as you come uphill, once that spring rate starts to change on these cars, it really does make the car nearly weightless. We're also going to take a look here at Andrew T. Jones and see what might have been his kerfuffle here in the 64 machine, as we see him coming out of NASCAR 1 and 2. I'm fast forwarding because sometimes the replay controls here are just a little bit too generous. And just as he gets ready to come into the bus stop, and he catches the tail of Aaron Mack in the 31 machine. Tony Burt and Corey Burkett and Michael Astuto all having an incident here. We're going to see what happened. As we see Tony Burt here in the number 4 car. That Chevrolet Camaro coming through the turn. Once again uphill, and he just gets it way too tight coming through the turn here at the Roval. Michael Astuto in the same boat, as well as Corey Burkett. And we see Corey Burkett coming out of the chicane here on the front stretch. And perhaps he just blinked out, as he may have blinked out long enough that, nope, he just managed to drive completely around that bus stop. R.P. Allen in the 03 Yahoo Toyota Supra leads Joseph Lester here by 3.38 seconds. Just a short distance between Lester and Bennett Allen here of about 0.6 of a second. Mike Wright running in 4th right now, your points leader. Eugenio Alonso rounding out the top 5. He's trailing Mike Wright by 6.1 seconds here. You can see that on the left side of your screen. Brad Gunn running in 6th position right now. Ricky Carmichael in 7th. He's up 2 spots from where he had begun, with Zach Osborne up 3 from where he had begun in the number 16. Brandon Minto down 3 from where he had begun in the upside Ford Mustang. And Chad Sanner rounds out your top 10 here. 22 seconds behind the leader, but just 0.6 of a second behind Minto. So a busy night here as R.P. Allen getting things all wound up and getting that machine as much of a gap between himself and Joseph Lester as he can, as he's got that opened up nearly to 4 seconds, as Joseph is holding off Bennett Allen and Mike Wright. Right now, this is going to be one of your tightest battles on the racetrack tonight. We can check that out right here in the lower corner of your screen, as Mike Wright is chasing down, Mike Wright chasing down Bennett Allen with about 0.4 of a second. Meanwhile, Bennett Allen trying to chase down Joseph Lester. This is basically a 3-way battle for second. I see here in the YouTube.com live chat that DK Get Dash videos. That, of course, is the 82 machine of Alexander Gangler. He's saying that he's not feeling too fast tonight. And the Dupla 9.0 Craft says, let's go, Ethan. Of course, that would be our boy Ethan Flanagan back there in the 46 machine. We'll take a look at him just as soon as we come back from these messages and our good friends over at Butt Kicker.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. You are watching Monday Night NASCAR's Xfinity Series live at the Charlotte Roval. Definitely not the traditional way that we see many of these drivers getting around this track tonight, as there are more than just left turns tonight. R.P. Allen, your race leader right now in the 03 Yahoo.com Toyota Supra. He is followed by Mr. Joseph Lester. Joseph has now cleared that time into the sub-4s now, but don't look now. Bennett Allen from Chattanooga, Tennessee, hot on the heels of Joseph Lester as they are bouncing their way through turn one, and it looks like Bennett is about to give Joseph a run for his money as we go through the infield segment of the track tonight. And, of course, just as I say that, it looks like Joseph turns on the jets to put a little distance, not much, between himself and Bennett Allen. Mike Wright, your Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series points leader, running in fourth position with Eugenio Alonso back here in fifth from Buenos Aires. Brad Gunn from Aztec, New Mexico in the number 36 1110 Mod Chevrolet Camaro running in 6th. While Ricky Carmichael from Tallahassee, Florida runs the 04 Monster Energy Chevrolet Camaro in 7th position, with Zach Osborne not too far behind in his number 16 Toyota Supra, with Brandon Minto in the number 12. Just behind him in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Mr. John Bawalda, who we saw during the break there as we were side by side, getting a little squirrely coming through the bus stop in the middle of the backstretch here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm Dave Regal. You are watching the Independence Racing Network, the exclusive broadcast provider of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. This is a passion project of mine. These folks out here on track are all very good friends of mine that we've developed this relationship over the last year. Of course, former Commissioner Robert Nestor, a very good friend of mine, and he talked me into this, and I said, sure, I'll give this a try, and I haven't left the broadcast booth since. It's a lot more fun for me sitting up here in the broadcast booth, getting to, show these races and produce these as best as I can. Believe me, I'm not a professional by any stretch, but I try. And, these drivers out here are putting on one heck of a race. So if they put on a heck of a race, we're trying to put on a heck of a broadcast here from our Conshohocken, Pennsylvania studios, live here along the Schuylkill River. As right now it looks like Mike Wright trying to chase down Bennett Allen, as Bennett Allen has now fallen behind Joseph Lester. We're on lap number 13 of 67, working our way toward the conclusion of lap number 20, as we do have stage racing. This is the full-length Xfinity Series race, as just about the closest battle on track right now is between Andrew T. Jones and John Bawalda, as he is chasing John down as they come through this uphill section of the track. And now John kind of on the outside, what would be the outside, I suppose, as they come closer to NASCAR turns 3 and 4. They make the exit from the infield ring here, and it looks like Andrew T. Jones is going to try to set sail for the 51. And we see Andrew T. Jones working his way around the lap car of Corey Burke at the 13 back here. Not having his best night here on the Roval, as he is just ahead of the 31 of Aaron Mack. Aaron Mack, of course, running in 12th position right now, and it looks like Aaron Mack just had himself all kinds of an issue. We're going to run this back here as we see we get ready to see Aaron Mack coming out of the bus, or out of turn 4 toward this front chicane. And just as he comes toward that chicane, it's almost like he came through just a little hot. And sometimes once these cars start to step out on you, that's exactly what will happen as he tries to corral this machine back in and get back underway. We can see just behind him Jeff Carson in the number 9 Reynolds Wrap Toyota Supra, running in 14th spot. He is now starting to try to close in on Aaron, as 2.26 seconds separate the two of them. Aaron Mack chasing down. Oh! And that looks like Alexander Gangler in the corn car. Let's see exactly what might have happened to Alexander here. Usually they say it's corn, it's got the juice, and tonight looks like Alexander had juice on his tires as he slid through there and got a little bit squirrely. And just after he reappears on the racetrack, he's looking at all these cars coming toward him. The only thing left to do is throw it in reverse and pray. And reverse he does as he gets off the racing surface and waits for traffic to pass him in that number 82 Corn Toyota Supra. Brandon Minto chasing down Zach Osborne now. Take a look at that timing distance, just 4/10 of a second, a little bit more. Separate these two drivers as they draft. At least it looks like Minto is drafting behind the 16, coming down the backstretch. As they roll through the bus stop, I believe we're going to see Zach Osborne put a little bit of distance between himself and Minto, as he still has about 5.1, almost an even 5 seconds up to Alex Princeton. Brandon Minto, meanwhile, trying to heat it up and get up there, as they've definitely put a little bit more distance between one another, as Zach Osborne now has basically doubled the amount of time between he and Osborne. Glad to have you all in with us tonight here on Facebook and YouTube, as we are simulcast tonight. Kind of figured out a little bit of how to get that done as we take a look here at Brandon Minto in the number 12 Upside Ford Mustang. We're on lap number 16 of 67. These drivers still trying to run as fast as they can. About 4 seconds of fall off now from their best times. R.P. Allen's best time was a 1 minute 21 second .99, so just about 1 minute 22 seconds even. We can see those here on the left side of your screen. And keep that in mind that as we look at some of these times, we're going to see a drastic change here in fall off, as RP's best time almost 1 minute 22 seconds. Joseph Lester, his best time was 1 minute 22.26 seconds. Right now, as we take a look at their last lap times, now we can see how that fall off has occurred, as Joseph Lester working the rear side now of R.P. Allen. He has closed in on him something fierce, with less than 3/10 of a second separating both drivers. This is going to be a battle for the ages, as Joseph Lester from Damascus, Virginia, is hot on the trail of R.P. Allen, and it looks like Joseph gets a little loose as he bounces through the bus stop. Both cars give a little wiggle on the exit of the bus stop. And now that gap has reopened itself to almost 4/10 of a second as they come back into the chicane on the front stretch. We can see Joseph getting another run here on the inside of Bennett Allen. This is for the lead, as Joseph Lester going to work the inside. That's going to force Allen to check up, and as RP has to check up, he gets the front end a little loose. Those front brakes sliding here on this hot racetrack tonight. We can take a look at that right here. My goodness, that was close. Right here on the right side of your screen, that track temperature still pretty toasty, but cooling off now at 102 degrees. Joseph Lester just absolutely setting sail now, as he has already put 8/10, nearly 9/10 of a second between himself and R.P. Allen. Eugenio Alonso and Ricky Carmichael getting ready to go at it here in the closing laps of stage number 1. Ricky Carmichael trying to hold Eugenio off, as they have about a quarter second as they come through the inner part of the track. Carmichael doing his very best to hold Eugenio off, and I'm pretty sure he can, as they make the exit out here toward turn 1 and 2, that NASCAR 1 and 2. Eugenio going to have to get that car wound up to draft up behind Carmichael as they enter the backstretch out of turn 2. As Carmichael smokes the brakes a little bit there on that left rear coming into the bus stop. Not sure exactly what just happened to Mike Wright, as it looks like he has gone down pit lane. An early pit for Mike Wright here on lap number 19. Not sure if he's got a mechanical problem, maybe some damage or something. We'll take a look at that, as now pit road will be closed. It looks like Carmichael Still trying to hold off Alonso now with 0.3 of a second. This is quite a battle so far. As now side by side. Oh! And Eugenio just spins Carmichael out. That was unnecessary from my perspective here in the broadcast booth, as Carmichael now going to have to get back underway. We're going to watch this yet again as Eugenio Alonso just gets one crazy run on Carmichael. And instead of backing off and working on him, he just spins Carmichael out, leaving Carmichael in the dust. That'll knock him back here on stage points and has him currently running in 8th position. Here we are at lap 20, and just as that was all going on, it looks like the 18 and the 3 swap positions again. Not sure where Joseph Lester... Joseph Lester had an incident. We're going to take a look at that once we go to the stage break. But right now, as they get ready to come down the backstretch, RP Allen leads. Now Corey Burkett, just by sheer literal position, as Corey Burkett a lap down. Looks like RP really gets loose coming through the bus stop as Corey Burkett holds it together. RP Allen still very loose. Those tires must be all but liquefied on that Toyota Supra as he comes through NASCAR 3 and 4 back toward the front stretch. He comes into the chicane, and it's a 3-way battle here at the... It's going to be a 3-way battle. Oh, and his brother Bennett now has to pull over and slow down as a penalty. That should lock up P1 for RP Allen here with Joseph Lester in second. Bennett Allen in third. Eugenio Alonso in fourth. Brad Gunn in fifth. Brandon Minto in sixth. Zach Osborne in seventh. Ricky Carmichael in eighth. Mike Wright in ninth. And rounding out your top 10, Mr. John Bawalda. So we're going to take a look back here as the caution flag flies as we have our competition caution at the conclusion of stage number 1. And just as we do that, I do want to take a quick look here and see what happened with Joseph, as maybe he and Bennett got together here. Bennett Allen and Joseph Lester both getting into it. I'm not even sure what exactly might have happened. Let's try that again. Dial it back up. There we go. We see Joseph here in the 18 machine coming through the carousel, and he just pulls over. It's almost like he had to serve a penalty or something happened as he allowed RP past him without anything whatsoever going on. And there it is. We can see now. Sorry for that technical issue there, but Joseph rolls out of the carousel and just pulls over to allow RP Allen to get past him. Not sure what the cause there is, as he also allows Bennett Allen to get on by. Well, not sure. I guess we're going to have a moment here to talk to RP Allen, if we can. RP, it's Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Hey, man, listen, quite a run here in stage number 1. Now, big question for me right now is, What was the deal with Joseph pulling over and letting you on by?
He decided to be a teammate and let me have stage points or something. I don't know. I mean, it just messed up that turn 3 or whatever, because it's pretty hard right now, especially with old tires. You got crazy wheel spin off that corner, so who knows?
Fair enough. It was one of those things where basically it showed him as being in a crash, and I'm thinking, okay, what happened? We go back to the replay, and it wasn't a crash. It was just he pulled over. It was kind of crazy from our perspective here in the broadcast booth, but it is what it is. You still sit here atop the pile, your teammate behind you, your brother behind him. Quite a race so far, as you guys have really kept it interesting.
Yeah, I used up my tires too much that run, and Joseph caught me because I am really struggling with old tires. So hopefully I can change something up and be able to pull away again.
All right, brother. Well, listen, congratulations on the stage 1, and maybe we'll see you there atop the pile at the end of stage 2.
Yeah, man, I sure hope so.
All right, that was Mr. Bennett Allen, driver of the 03 Yahoo Toyota Supra, of course, from Money House Racing. RP, one of those drivers that is always out here week in and week out, just absolutely killing it here on the track and making sure that he's putting on a good show for you folks at home. So RP Allen sits atop the pile. Obviously, everybody's going to be coming in for service this time, as Joseph Lester, Bennett Allen, Eugenio Alonso, everybody getting ready to rock and roll as they come down pit road. RP and Joseph Lester both getting off pit road with relative quickness. However, Mike Wright, who came in on lap 18 for his pit service, is now sitting atop the pile. Couple laps more on his tires than RP and Joseph. But you got to remember, as RP and Joseph both are going to come out with cold tires, Mike Wright's going to have plenty of heat in these things. So I do expect to see him get himself a fairly good run here at the beginning of this second stage. I'm Dave Regal. You're watching the Independence Racing Network, and we're going to step aside and hear from our good friends over at Preen Lawn Care.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag, and all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. butt kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. R.P. Allen and Mike Wright getting ready to bring this field down the backstretch here into the bus stop. We are at the Charlotte Roval, and for you folks that are unfamiliar, as of course now we're going to see everybody do this weird thing on the backstretch. Basically, they've taken Charlotte Motor Speedway and put a couple of right-hand turns in it. They put this big mess here in the middle of the racetrack. It makes for some really exciting racing. Of course, chances are you got to see some of that over the weekend on NBC Sports. But right now, side by side, Mike Wright and Bennett Allen, is Mike Wright currently at what would be the inside here, coming out of turn 4. The iRacing.com pace car nuzzles down here toward pit road. Mike Wright and Bennett Allen side by side with this field double stacked, and when we go back green flag racing, you are going to turn it up as Mike Wright and Bennett Allen hit the loud pedal, and we go back green flag racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Oh, Mike Wright getting it all wrong here. We're going to run this back and see exactly what might have happened to him, as he almost never makes any mistakes. So, of course, it happened while we were sitting there in his cockpit during our Turn It Up segment. We're going to see exactly what might have happened here. Keep an eye on that number 98 machine here. It looks like he's got Zach Vaughn on the inside as they go down to come through the... Oh! And Zach Vaughn, you can see, just buys that turtle a little too hard and bounces himself right into Mike. That's definitely not something that we usually see. Mike Wright last week at Talladega, one of the few nights that I didn't get to talk to him on the podium, as he did not have a great finish at Talladega. And we will go back to our Turn It Up segment right now, as we're going to watch R.P. Allen, Joseph Lester, Bennett Allen, and Zach Osborne duke it out here at Charlotte. 28 laps of 67 in the books so far for the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. R.P. Allen, your race leader right now, ahead of teammate Joseph Lester in the 18 machine. These drivers at the end kind of swap positions as Joseph let R.P. by him for the stage win. Folks, welcome in. Glad to have you with us here on the Independence Racing Network. Leo Bonacasa, glad to have you with us in the YouTube.com live chat as it seems that you've figured out what my underlying music is there on the Northeastern Fire and Air commercial. Of course, that is from Backdraft, the very beginning there. And I'll tell you what, just a great movie. Of course, in our home, it has always meant something very special. And for all of us who are part of that brotherhood of firefighters, it is more than nationwide, it is worldwide. And, that movie from so long ago, my goodness, I believe 91 or 92 that movie came out. And, to me, just a great storyline. Got to be honest with you, Backdraft 2, not really worth a good watch. I mean, unless you're really bored watching Netflix. But the original movie, of course, with Billy Baldwin and Kurt Russell, Robert De Niro, just an all-star cast, Donald Sutherland. I mean, there is no greater movie to me than Backdraft. So, Leo, glad that you picked up on that. Meanwhile, back here at the ranch, R.P. Allen still being challenged by Joseph Lester. Looks like Austin wants to point out that Joseph was gaining. Not sure how long ago that was, but Joseph definitely gaining on RP right now, but it seems more like maybe he's back here just kind of defending his teammate as Bennett Allen in the number 3 JCTV Toyota Supra running in third position. Another close battle here, Zach Osborne and Brandon Minto, as they are separated by just 0.8 of a second. Not a whole lot of close battles, but right now, Brad Gunn getting ready to chase down Ricky Carmichael as they go down the backstretch here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We can see Ricky. Oh, I heard a crash now. Let's see who that was. Might have been Chris Claude here. As Chris Claude in that number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra comes down the backstretch. Doesn't smoke him there, but he just comes into that bus stop a little too heavy. He gets out of the way of Aaron Mack and Ricky Carmichael and stays here on the paint as long as humanly possible. That way he doesn't add insult to injury for some of these drivers. That's one of the things that at a road course you really have to be conscious of about being a good sportsman. I mean, you can get really frustrated in these cars. Overall, the Xfinity cars are real tough to drive. They've got a ton of torque at the rear end. The rear end almost always seems to want to step out on you. And then you want to put these on an unpredictable road course with elevation changes like we see here as Ricky's getting through. As it looks like Chris Claude trying to direct traffic a little bit for Eugenio Alonso so that they can make a safe pass. As we're going to take a look here at Joseph Lester and R.P. Allen. But, something... Oh, it looks like Lester's making a run at the lead again. It's a little wobbly there, but he obviously keeps that machine under control, does Lester. But anyway, these cars are already a handful. Then you throw in the conditions that we have tonight. Of course, we'll take a look here at the weather again as track temperature has become quite a factor tonight. Definitely loosened these cars up, made them real slick. Track temperature now at 102 degrees. That's the same as it was earlier, but during practice it was 109 degrees. On a track like this, you need to learn how to be courteous, maybe a little humble from time to time. You may be a great driver on the oval. You may be great at the intermediate tracks, the 1.5 miles, but then you come to a place like this where at a 2-mile track like Charlotte would normally be, and it turns into an absolute nightmare for you, or a 1.5 miles like Charlotte, on the oval format is usually very easy for you. You see Charlotte and you're thinking, yeah, I can do this. And just as you think you can do this, they throw a bus stop in here. as Joseph Lester bounces over the bus stop, still manages to keep that car pointed the right direction, but definitely loses some ground on RP as RP now out to 1 1/4 seconds. Go back here to a slightly closer battle as Andrew T. Jones in the number 64 looks like a street modified right now, trying to chase down Brad Gunn and being chased down by Eugenio Alonso. This is now a three-way battle for 7th position, as that's still anybody's race for 7th right here. But, you know, you've got to know, hey, listen, I've got some damage on my car, or maybe my car's not handling the way that it needs to, especially through some of these turns that you've really got to work hard to negate. And, you know, just like Chris Claude is on race radio right now, as Eugenio Alonso getting ready to get past Andrew Jones. Andrew Jones doesn't put up too much of a fight, especially because you're basically going on a 90-degree turn there. And, you know, sometimes you've got to know when to get out of the throttle and let somebody have that position back, because you never know. You can work yourself back up in front of that person at another time. You know, but obviously, especially some of these cars, let's see if we can catch somebody. And of course not, so we'll have to catch that on their next time around. But, you know, a lot of these cars, hey, I'm making a 90-degree left turn. There's almost no way to get in there side by side. So without wrecking both of you, get out of the throttle, tap the brakes a little bit, get out of the way, and, you know, keep it civil. Joseph Lester now gaining a half second on RP Allen here on lap number 33 of 67. We're working our way toward lap number 40. At the conclusion of lap 40, that will conclude stage 2. It's been a long night so far, as this race, at a total of 67 laps, at about a minute and a half each, we're going to be here for quite a while yet. There's still a lot of race to go, as RP is just hitting his marks time after time again. Joseph Lester doing the same thing. Bennett Allen running in 3rd position right now. Brandon Minto in 4th. I mean, you know, these drivers have been working their way through this field with some with ease and some with not. Take a look right now. Your biggest mover of the night, John Bawalda, the Bel Air, Maryland native, in the number 51 Chevrolet Camaro. Hooah! On the hood. He's up 12 positions from where he had started. He started way back in 23rd and has patiently worked his way forward. Basically, if you look at his last time, now he's run a 127. He's about 4 seconds slower than RP Allen, so the night's not going to go his way if he stays at that kind of a disadvantage time-wise. But he's keeping that machine clean. He's got a little bit of a crinkle there on that rear bumper, but at the same time, he's out here getting it done. Meanwhile, it looks like teammate Tony Burt in the 4 machine has put it on the hauler for the night. And you know what? It's one of those nights where maybe you do have to put it on the hauler. Meanwhile, speaking of not putting it on the hauler, Eugenio Alonso from Buenos Aires is now chasing down Brad Gunn in the 36 as if he owes him lunch money here. There is not a whole lot of distance as the Aztec, New Mexico native is still leading Alonso through turn 1. But you can see right there how tight that turn is through 1. And we're going to, come on. We're going to watch Jeff Carson from Cross Junction, Virginia, negate turn 1. And you can only imagine, as he's single file right now, what it's like if you're side by side with another driver coming through this first turn. That's a 90-degree turn coming off the front stretch here at Charlotte. I mean, that's a lot of work for any driver, whether you're a professional who's had real-life experience in the Xfinity car like Ricky Carmichael, or a novice like myself or Joseph Lester, where Joseph Lester isn't even able, you know, age-wise to drive a car in real life, at least legally. But, you know, there's a big gap in experience here, but at the same time, these drivers all united by iRacing. And iRacing is just such a unique service to be a part of, as many of us come from, as you can see on their driver info there at the bottom of the screen, you know, from all different walks of life. We've got Eugenio Alonso here in the 86 car working the high side of Brad Gunn coming out of turn 4 here into that front chicane. He's from Buenos Aires. He's chasing down a guy from New Mexico. the guy that's watching both of these drivers, including you folks at home, this guy here, I'm from Pennsylvania, watching this go on live right here on my screen. I mean, that's just one little segment of iRacing. There's tens of thousands of users on the service. It's an incredible community. You know, you can learn a lot. You can meet a lot of new people, a lot of interesting people. And like myself, I was introduced to iRacing by somebody that, you know, I consider a friend who's also my real life boss. And, you know, where you can get involved in so many different ways. And of course, when you're a fair to Midland driver like myself, sometimes the safest place is right here in the broadcast booth. And of course, here at the Independence Racing Network, we're here to have a good time. And last night, the Davis Brothers Roofing Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series over on Sim Racing Media, as would be my quote-unquote broadcasting day job. We had a heck of a race last night, 55 laps here at the Roval. What a race that turned out to be, especially as, you know, it kind of turned into a track meet for a while. And even now, you can see a lot of these drivers, a lot of room between all of them. As there's still a half second between Ricky Carmichael and Brad Gunn, but now Brad Gunn getting a run and smoking his tires to keep from catching the rear. And now it looks like Brad Gunn, we've now got a three-way battle for seventh yet again, as points leader Mike Wright working the inside, and just there is an absolute perfect shot of exactly what I was talking about earlier. Side by side at turn one is not a good place to be. So Mike Wright backs it up a little bit, waits to get here into the carousel. Now, the carousel is where Eugenio had accidentally dumped Ricky Carmichael earlier, but now it seems like he's maybe playing a little bit safer as he kind of throws a light block in front of the 98. And as they come through this middle section here on the infield, it looks like they've now separated a little bit, but I'm pretty sure Mike Wright's getting tired of following Eugenio along as he's being chased down by Andrew T. Jones. Meanwhile, while all of that's going on, Brad Gunn just ran away and has added 1.8 seconds, nearly 2 seconds now, over Eugenio Alonso and Mike Wright, as they are still back there giving each other the death blows left and right as we come through the bus stop. This seems to be one of those places where Eugenio gets a run over top of Mike Wright in the 98 as they come through NASCAR 3 and 4. Looks like Jeff Carson has had himself another incident. We're going to back it up and see if we can't find out what happened with Jeff. Here in the 09 machine, he comes into that carousel, maybe a little too hot, catches some paint. And just as he does, he kind of takes that a little wide. Oh, and locks himself up. Now the hard part is going to be getting himself, as it looks like he broke that toe link on the front of the 9. Oh my, that's a frustrating finish there for Jeff Carson. Looks like Mike Wright trying to sniff the rear bumper of Eugenio Alonso as Joseph Lester and R.P. Allen both choosing to come down pit road early tonight. They passed Chad Sanner, who's been down there for quite a while tonight, since lap 8, as a matter of fact. Both these teammates coming down. Two sets of tires on the, or two tires on the right. Two more Mr. Feelgoods on the left. A full tank of Go Fast. They drop down and they wait. And just in case this couldn't get any stranger, it looks like the 3 and the 18 are going to be waiting. Well, no sense hanging out there, as now it looks like Bennett Allen is going to jump out in front of the lead here on lap number 39 of 67. Zach Osborne follows him, but 27.4 seconds is not a whole lot of competition there with just 2 to go here in stage number 2. Brandon Minto trying to chase down Zach Osborne, about a second between them. Mike Wright and Brad Gunn still trying to go at it hammer and tongs here at this stage in the race. Looks like the 98 Fresh Market Ford Mustang trying to chase Gunn down, but Gunn is taking a run at Ricky Carmichael. We see Carmichael leading the 36 and the 98 into the bus stop. Ricky hits those marks just perfectly. Meanwhile, it almost looks like Brad Gunn wanted to try to challenge Carmichael here on lap number 40, as Bennett Allen looking to bring this home, but the battle not over yet here for 4th position now. And now Mike Wright chasing down as he and Brad Gunn finally sort that out. Looks like Mike Wright still going at the rear as we are now under caution. That will conclude stage number 2. That was a little premature, but not the end of the world, as we're now under caution. Bennett Allen, Zach Osborne, Brandon Minto, Ricky Carmichael, Mike Wright, Brad Gunn, John Bawalda, Anthony Paggio, John Crow Sr., and Joseph Lester, all being awarded stage points tonight here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And Bennett Allen now, your stage 2 winner. Going to see if we can get a hold of stage 2 winner Bennett Allen.
Right now.
Bennett Allen, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, listen, the JCTV number 3 Toyota Supra takes home that green and white checkered flag. A little premature was the stage caution here, but not the end of the world for you, as you had a 27-second lead over P2, Zach Osborne. Quick question, because this is interesting, and of course I'm going to pull one of them in here to the broadcast booth. Was there some type of arrangement with those teammates to get you up here in a P1?
No, they just pitted early so they can have track position after everyone else cycles through pit stops. And me being anxious, the anxious person I am, I just stayed out so I can get stage points. You know, every point that I can get, you know, what I need. But this JCTV Toyota Supra is pretty good. You know, I probably didn't get enough practice as I needed this week, so just kind of going through the motions right now, trying to keep the car clean and just trying to finish the race. In my brain, I think I'm sitting like 3rd in points now, so I'm pretty sure we're locked in, but I still just wanted the stage points so I could be extra sure.
I mean, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I'm looking at the point standings right now. With this win, I mean, you're more than locked in, pal. You're fine. Don't you worry. You just go out there and you hit those marks and you log those laps and get through the rest of this race, and you'll transfer without a problem.
Yeah, it's just the car's not handling the way I wanted to handle. Preston and Joseph are way faster than I am on even long run, and usually I'm better long run. So we're just trying to figure things out, how to get faster as the run goes on, and pretty sure the final stage is just a tad bit longer, not too bad. So we're just going to save our stuff here and hopefully be there at the end just in case chaos ensues.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the Stage 2 win. Before I cut you loose, anybody you need to thank here for this win?
Just huge thanks to Money House Racing and Propel Motorsports and JCTV. All those guys always are a big help during the week. So after Roval, we're going to be practicing for Las Vegas next week. And since I have a day off this week, we'll be doing that.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on the Stage 2 win. We will see you on the other side and maybe even in victory lane.
Lord willing. Thanks, Dave.
That was Bennett Allen, Stage 2 winner here, the JCTV number 3 Toyota Supra. As he comes down pit road, gets a little bit of service. He did give us a little peek behind the curtain in the decision-making between Joseph Lester and R.P. Allen. Of course, Joseph Lester and R.P. Allen now sitting atop the pile as they came into pit a couple of laps before everybody else on lap number 38. Andrew T. Jones also coming down on lap 37. So he's going to be restarting P3 for this third and final stage here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Folks, I'm Dave Regal. You are watching the Independence Racing Network. We are live from Charlotte Motor Speedway on iRacing.com. We're proudly brought to you by RS Button Boxes and Butt Kicker. And, you know, we've not had a chance to talk about this very much at all this season. But I do want to talk about, since we are in the playoffs and we're getting to that stage in the season, a little bit about what's going on with the Butt Kickers and the button box and everything from RS Button Boxes. Of course, that's going to be an I flag that will be awarded. But the champion of this season will receive the Butt Kicker and a choice of an I flag or $100. Of course, right now, if the season ended today, that would be Mike Wright. Second and third place in the season standings here at the conclusion of the playoffs will also each receive a Butt Kicker game or two. And let me just tell you, the Butt Kickers make all kinds of a difference in your racing. Fourth place will also win a prize this year in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. They will win whatever the champion didn't choose. So let's just say the champion chose the I flag or $100. Let's just say that they chose $100. Then the fourth place driver would then be awarded the I flag. And then, of course, the top non-playoff driver will win whatever the champion and fourth place didn't choose. So there's a whole lot going on there for prizes this season. And, you know, the fine folks over at Butt Kicker and RS Button Boxes have done their very best this year to support this league, to support these drivers. And I got to be honest with you, folks, they have been great sponsors and great partners here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Of course, the Independence Racing Network is proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air. And if you are a local firefighter, whether volunteer or career, you can always check out Northeastern Fire and Air by giving them a shout at 610-207-6608. If you're interested in breathing air compressors, cascade systems, all kinds of different equipment that you can check out from them, as Joseph Lester punts another blue cone here on the front stretch behind the iRacing.com pace car. And we see the iRacing.com pace car lights turn out, and just as it does, we're going to step aside and take a break before we start stage number 3 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway as the field gets ready to come back here for stage number 3 with 24 laps to go. Once the green flag waves, Joseph Lester and R.P. Allen on the front row with Andrew T. Jones and Bennett Allen in row number 2, Zach Osborne and Brandon Minto in row 3, Ricky Carmichael and Anthony Paggio in row 4 with John Crow Sr. and John Bawalda rounding out your top 10. Joseph Lester with his finger on the button tonight. He's got that foot hovering just above the loud pedal as the pace car dives down pit road. Joseph takes off, and we are back green flag racing here as we get back to the start-finish line at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Oh, Ricky Carmichael right here in front of our camera. Just absolutely got into it there. We're going to run this back for sure. Looks like he was trying to avoid Zach Osborne in the 16 machine and just spun out. That's frustrating. We're going to take a look right here. As we see the 04 creeping up here on the rear bumper of the 16 of Zach Osborne. They come out of NASCAR 4. Osborne getting a little slow as he hops that curb. Meanwhile, Ricky tries to avoid him, and it just, gets himself all kinds of tore up here. That's a frustrating night for Ricky. As maybe we'll have a moment to talk to him later on in this race. We'll see if he winds up going down to pit road for some service, as it looks like he has gotten himself back up and running as he heads down into... Whoa, we see side by side go the 51 and the 98 of John Bawalda and Mike Wright. And Brandon Minto may be coming down pit road this time by. And he does. Carmichael being able to stay out right now, chasing down the number 95 of John Crow Sr. John Crow Sr., yes. And I do want to take a quick moment here with John Crow Sr.'s paint scheme. We haven't really talked about too many paint schemes tonight, but if you have young children or grandchildren at home, check out this paint scheme here on the 95. That is Blippi the Musical. And if you have any young children, check out Blippi. I know both of my children, David and Harmony, both loved Blippi, and there was quite a thing in our home for a while over. We have to watch Blippi, and I'm pretty sure that it's the only word that my daughter may ever spell in her life. Blippi. It's a whole thing. You can check that out on Hulu and of course on YouTube. As people have asked me before, what is Blippi? Picture this, folks. Oh, the 98 and the 51 get together, and then they both blink out. That's interesting. We'll get back to that in just a moment. But anyway, picture, if you're trying to figure out what Blippi is or who he is, picture Mr. Rogers and Pee Wee Herman having a love child. And if they did, the product would be Blippi. It's the education and the inquisitiveness and the inclusion of Fred Rogers and the energy of Pee Wee Herman. And it is just, it's an incredible series. You can check them out. Again, like I said, over on Hulu was the last place I knew that it was in existence. And just really good for entertainment, for kids. It's all geared toward them. It's incredible. So check out Blippi over there on Hulu. Meanwhile, Ricky Carmichael down on pit road. Looks like he's going to get 4 tires and obviously a tank of Go Fast. Let's see if he goes anywhere, if he's going to have a minute here sitting on pit road. And if he's in Discord, we might be able to have a chat with him, and he's not. Well, I wish he was, since he's down here getting service. However, R.P. Allen and Joseph Lester both still out here exchanging blows on the racetrack tonight. As Joseph and R.P. going down in here, as R.P. Allen still leading Joseph Lester by about a second now, as Lester rolls it out of the carousel, following RP step for step, tit for tat, if you will, as they come in through this elevation change. About the next closest battle out here is Anthony Paggio in the 07 chasing down Zach Osborne. There's just a second separating these two drivers as we look here. That's pretty much the closest there is besides RP and Joseph, as everybody else no less than 2.6 seconds on the track. Mike Wright down about 0.3 of a second. John Bawalda 700th behind him. Kind of interesting. Not sure what's going on there with the 98 and the 51 cars. It seems like maybe they've both decided to put it on the hauler tonight. Mike Wright, of course, not even a factor as far as having to transfer over, as he has more points and wins than anybody else in the NASCAR Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Almost looks like RP has these tires here all kinds of bent up. Definitely an interesting look here to the 03 Toyota Supra, as he's kind of crunched up here in the front. Meanwhile, one of the cleanest cars on the track right now is Joseph Lester from Damascus, Virginia. He's still out here wheeling and dealing, getting out here on NASCAR's turn 1 and 2.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air. 14 laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway's Roval. We've had quite a battle going on up atop the pile as it looks like connection-wise, Joseph Lester may have just dropped connection. Very interesting development here, as he was just in a three-way battle with the Allen brothers, RP and Bennett, both who are atop the pile. Only a half second separates these two drivers. Joseph Lester still not up here on his connection. Not sure what's going on, as it looks like RP is now leading Bennett here by about a half a second coming through NASCAR 1 and 2. And thank you for the update, Austin. I appreciate it. Looks like Bennett just disqualified Joseph Lester, so that's going to cost him a lot. Obviously, Joseph was driving a little, well, and in Pennsylvania Dutch, we would say he was driving a little shushlik or sloppy, and it caused that disqualification flag to come up and bite him right in the can. And here he is now dropping like a rock through the standings tonight with 13 to go now. RP Allen leading brother Bennett here through the front stretch as they make it through the chicane and into that 90-degree turn one. Meanwhile, next closest battle yet again, Zach Osborne and Anthony Paggio, as Osborne chasing Paggio down. Pag here in the 07 Pilot Flying J Toyota Supra, leading him through the front stretch, out of the chicane and into this infield menagerie of turns and twists. A carousel coming up here. Paggio still leading Zach Osborne by about 0.8 of a second now, extending that lead as they come into the bus stop here on the backstretch as they roll out toward NASCAR Turn 3. Paggio gets a heck of a run over him and now extends his lead to more than 1 second. Another close battle here, close as far as road racing is concerned. Brad Gunn and Jeff Carson still duking it out. Jeff Carson had crashed earlier on lap 52. We're going to take a look back at it. Here as we see Carson in the number 9 Reynolds Wrap Toyota Supra. He's going to roll out of NASCAR 2 down the backstretch, and I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that he overcooks it here, and he does, and gets a little sideways. Nothing serious, obviously, not the end of the world. As we are still green flag racing with now 12 to go for the 9, as he is now passed by Brad Gunn in that cookout Ford Mustang. 39 getting past the 9. Meanwhile, the Allen brothers still lead this race. RP here in the 03 Yahoo Toyota. Ben and Allen in the number 3 JCTV Toyota. Of course, 2 Money House Racing drivers. Their teammate recently here discovered teammate Joseph Lester being disqualified. Not intentionally, of course, by Bennett. You know, for lack of a better term, stuff happens. And it's frustrating, but, you know, I guess as a Philadelphia sports fan, we are always looking to next season. And, of course, at this point, it's always looking to next week. So next week, of course, we head out to the desert. We go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Getting back to the 1.5 miles is going to be, whoa, the 3 car getting a little loose here. As we're going to leave the road courses behind finally, as this is the last road course of the season. Anthony Paggio has had himself an incident here. We're going to take a look. And we can see Anthony Paggio here following the 16 as they come into the bus stop. And it looks like Paggio just gets it all kinds of loose through the bus stop. But he does manage to keep it off the wall, which is a good thing, especially after some of the wrecks that we have seen tonight from these drivers. Definitely not something that anybody wants to experience. But right now, speaking of experience, RP and Bennett Allen still sitting atop the pile here as those brothers going at it. Brad Gunn just behind Jeff Carson in the 9, the 9 and the 36. Pretty close battle here, closest on track right now. As it looks like Brad trying desperately to get that 7th position away from him. We can see here in the battle box, right-hand corner of the screen, Carson having 7th position right now with Gunn trying to find a way around him. Brad Gunn and Jeff Carson here running into NASCAR's 1 and 2. Still less than 0.3 of a second separating these drivers as Carson leads. Wow, that is fast. As Carson leads Gunn here. Oh, Carson getting through that front chicane like a wizard. Manages to maintain this lead and even extend it just a little bit to 1.1 seconds over Carson. Or I'm sorry, over Gunn. So Jeff Carson, like a rocket ship getting through that front chicane, shows Brad Gunn how it's done. The Allen brothers really starting to heat up here. We're going to take a look back at this as they come out of NASCAR 4 here onto the front stretch. This is something exciting just to watch from anybody's perspective. We're going to see RP and Bennett Allen both running through this front chicane. RP gets sideways first. To counter, Bennett decides he's got to slow him down. And side by side they are, as RP Allen, still your race leader now in live time, is slip sliding through this racetrack alongside of his brother. We're going to ride along with Andrew T. Jones on this one because this is an interesting look, so as it is. It looks like the Allen brothers both wrecked themselves here into the wall. This is a development that nobody saw coming, as we're going to quick go back here to our cover screen and see what exactly happened to the Allen brothers that leaves Andrew T. Jones and his street modified out here in your lead with now an 8-second lead over the Allen brothers. And it looks like RP just gives Bennett a little nudge. RP sliding Bennett out of the way, and as Bennett hits the wall, ricochets off into RP. That's an interesting change right there, as that completely just changes our race. And we've got a whole new ball game here, folks, with Andrew T. Jones in the number 64 Chevrolet Camaro with 8 laps to go, having an 8-second lead over Bennett Allen, and that lead is getting slightly larger as we move along, now 8.3 and growing. Bennett Allen with a 13-second lead over Zach Osborne. RP Allen had to come down pit road, and he is down there getting repair, was down there getting repair. Not sure if he just rage quit or what exactly happened, but he is no longer being scored as on track with 8 laps to go here. At Charlotte Motor Speedway, we have a new race leader, and his name is Andrew T. Jones, driving the number 64 Highland Brewing Company Chevrolet Camaro. Guess we better get used to seeing this at least for the next 8.6263 seconds, and yet again growing over Bennett Allen. Going to take another look back here at the Bennett Allen RP Allen crash, because I'll tell you what, this is our move of the night. We're going to watch this in awe, really, as these two drivers all night long were side by side. They're brothers, and just as you see Bennett bounce into the wall here on the inside, just under that Bank of America bridge, it just gets ugly from there. I mean, nobody ever really wants to see that happen. And just as Bennett hits that wall, he just bounces out and catches that left front of RP. And boom goes the dynamite, as they say. Leaving Andrew Jones here now with an 8.5-second lead over Bennett Allen with 7 to go. Bennett Allen still trying to limp this car around at least through the next 7 laps, as he has a 19.95-second lead over Anthony Paggio. Paggio just 2 seconds behind Zach Osborne. That is, at that 2-second gap, that is the closest battle we see on track right now. Nobody's closer than 2 seconds, and Zach Osborne and Anthony Paggio, that's about it. So as we run now, Andrew T. Jones, your race leader, with a 9.5-second lead over Bennett Allen, here running in P2. Zach Osborne in P3 right now, 19 seconds behind Bennett Allen from Claremont. Anthony Paggio in the 07 Flying J Toyota Supra running in 4th. Rounding out the top 5, John Crow Sr. here in the number 95 Blippy Chevrolet Camaro. Jeff Carson in his Reynolds Wrap Toyota Supra from Cross Junction, Virginia, running in 6th position, with Brad Gunn not far behind from Aztec, New Mexico. Brandon Minto and Michael Astuto round out the 8th and 9th position, with Chris Claude, your Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series commissioner, rounding out the top 10. It has been an interesting race so far, which brings us to the most interesting fact of the night, and it looks like Brad Gunn has now had some trouble back here. We're going to take a look. And as we see Brad Gunn rolling out of turn 4, it looks like he just gets loose coming into the chicane and just completely misses that right-hand turn getting out of the chicane. Something that is more common than we see. Of course, we can't catch everybody doing it, but that time we were able to find Brad Gunn having a little bit of trouble coming through the chicane. Five laps to go here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm Dave Regal. You're watching the Independence Racing Network. Glad to have all of you with us tonight on YouTube and Facebook. As, I got to be honest with you folks, it's been an interesting race. We've had some different kind of moves here with, that Money House Racing team as, some early pit stops had made some changes there at the conclusion of stage 2 when Bennett Allen brought home that green and white checkered flag. RP Allen winning the first stage, and now those two drivers getting together after disqualifying teammate Joseph Lester. That changes everything here in this final stage with 4 to go now, as Andrew T. Jones, a driver we don't hear a whole lot from at all, in the number 64 in an already beaten up Chevrolet Camaro with a 10-second lead over Bennett Allen. In fact, as I'm looking here now, I had to go and dig for it. Andrew T. Jones, your race leader right now, has only started in 4 previous races before tonight here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. So this is his 5th race. To say he would be new to the league might be an understatement, as he's here in race number 5. Of course, just before this, he had 1 top 10 and 1 top 5. No wins, of course, yet in the season. But definitely an up-and-coming driver here in this number 64 Chevrolet Camaro. He brings it down once again as we are now going to be 3 to go. Next closest battle on track is Anthony Paggio, 1.89 seconds behind Zach Osborne. And all of a sudden, Brad Gunn chasing down Jeff Carson here with 3 to go. Looks like these two are going to be going at it hammer and tongs pretty heavy, as Brad Gunn is chasing Carson down. Gunn opting not to draft, but all of a sudden gets a good run out of NASCAR 2. Locks him up, nearly catches Carson as Carson brings it to an all but complete stop here in the bus stop to allow Gunn to get by without damaging that number 9 Reynolds Wrap Toyota Supra. Of course, you don't want to wrinkle the foil. You can never really get it just right ever again. And obviously, that's exactly what Jeff Carson was thinking as he allowed Brad Gunn to run past him. We're going to run that back one more time because that was an impressive run from Brad Gunn past Jeff Carson. And just like that, we see them coming down the backstretch. Here we are with Gunn getting the run over top of Carson, overshoots that entrance into the bus stop. Doesn't matter, though, and he's able to get through there. Meanwhile, Carson, just as we saw, he at that point had to lock him up as he thought he was going to hang in the throttle a little bit longer than necessary. Smokes those tires as he comes into the bus stop. That's one way to keep it off the wall, that's for sure. And now Anthony Paggio making it past Zach Osborne for P3. Let's take a look here and see what happened when this all went down. Once again, the bus stop playing a major factor here in tonight's race as it allows Anthony Paggio to get right on past the 16 of Zach Osborne. Let's see exactly what happened, and maybe Osborne had a problem here. See if he had any kind of trouble as he gets ready to enter the Oh, yeah, he overshoots the entrance to the bus stop, and it opens the door for Paggio to absolutely blow the doors off of him on the bus stop exit. So in the last few laps here, as we are now 2 to go at Charlotte Motor Speedway's Roval, popsicle sticks are in the air. With 2 to go, the white flag is now up in the air. Popsicle sticks down, white flag up. And we are racing back to checkers at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Andrew Jones, Bennett Allen, and Anthony Paggio, 1, 2, 3, they go right now, as Paggio still trying to hold off Zach Osborne. Andrew Jones has an 8-second lead over Bennett Allen. Barring any catastrophe, he is going to maintain that position. Meanwhile, Paggio just 1 second above Zach Osborne. That's about the closest battle on track, as Ricky Carmichael and Alexander Gangler also separated by just about a second. This is for all the marbles now for Anthony Paggio, as he's trying to bring home that podium finish here for the 07. As Zach Osborne has now drawn within a full second now. Now 4/10 of a second as they come through the carousel. And it looks like Paggio finally getting the run over top of Osborne that he needed. Meanwhile, we don't want to miss this whatsoever, as in his 5th start here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, Andrew Jones coming through the chicane one last time brings this damaged 64 machine all the way home, crossing the start-finish line. Congratulations, Andrew T. Jones, on your first Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series win. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, it looks like Zach Osborne has given up and decided he's just going to allow Anthony Paggio to take home the podium finish. So as we stand right now, your podium consists of Mr. Andrew T. Jones, Bennett Allen from Money House Racing, and Anthony Paggio in the 07 Toyota Supra, as Paggio bringing it around turn 4. Just takes it real nice and easy here through the chicane. No reason to make a mistake, as he's got one more twist here in the racetrack, crosses the start-finish line, and secures that podium. John Crow Jr. bringing home the Blippy the Musical Chevrolet Camaro. In 4th position, Brad Gunn getting ready to bring home the 36 machine. Jeff Carson side by side with the GOAT Ricky Carmichael, as Carmichael down 4 laps now, bringing it home. As what a great run for this league tonight, especially here at the end, where Andrew T. Jones capitalizes on a mistake from the Allen brothers. He brings it through that rear bus stop on the backstretch. Just a great run from him tonight. Andrew T. Jones, you are the man. As the great Harry Callis said of Chase Utley in his first at-bat, I'll tell you what, this has been an impressive finish tonight for Andrew T. Jones. Bennett Allen getting in here on the action, and Anthony Paggio should also be coming into our Discord broadcast waiting room. So we get ready to bring our podium finishers up here into the broadcast booth now. And on the podium tonight for the first time in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is Anthony Paggio. Page, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Gotcha. You got me?
Hey, man, I sure do, man. Listen, great run here at the end for the 07. I mean, how did you even pull this one off to be here on the podium tonight?
Well, I mean, I first of all, I got to give a massive shout out to the boys at E10 and Chad Sanner for all the car setups and everything. But, you know, having them in my ear, talking me through everything is the only way I could have gotten through this. And then I just played it safe and patient for the first two stages, and then just kind of wanted to tiptoe the beginning of that third stage and just kept a nice consistent pace going.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't find any of you E10 guys, you know, pre-race up in the Discord, so I wasn't able to really find out what you guys were feeling from these cars. But obviously, you were feeling the start-finish line here, third in line. I mean, you know, I know that Chad Sanner is always kind of a mad scientist when it comes to these setups. I mean, what a guy he is.
He is. He's rad. The complicated thing was we were playing around this week with so many different setups. And we had so many different variations, and me, Ricky, and the whole team were bouncing back and forth. And I believe out of the team, I think we ran 4 different setups in that, which everybody was doing good until some unfortunate incidents.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this race completely changed its complexion, you know, in the blink of an eye tonight as, you know, Joseph Lester gets disqualified, the Allen brothers wreck into one another, and all of a sudden, you know, you're here on the podium just, you know, at first I thought it was going to be a Money House Racing 1, 2, 3, and instead it turns into kind of a salad bowl here atop the pile.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Zach Osborne was actually right behind me going into the last lap, and we tagged the wall together, and he had too many X's, so he got booted. But we would have had third and fourth either way. But yeah, great night for us at E10. Fun. I'm just getting the hang of this. I'm new to it. WR1 Sims is rad and helped me out. And yeah, I'm just trying to get my feet under me still.
All right, man. Well, listen, before we cut you loose, is there anybody else that you need to tip your helmet to for this run tonight?
Yeah, all the boys at E10, man. I could not do it without them. I'm illiterate when it comes to all this stuff, so they walk me and hold my hands all the time. So big props to those guys. Thank you, and congrats to everybody first and second.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations to you, and we will see you next week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Sounds good, buddy. Thank you, guys.
That was Anthony Paggio, driver of the 07 Toyota Supra, tonight here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. Glad to have him with us as we are now going to get a chance to talk to Mr. Bennett Allen. And, you know, Bennett Allen, one of those drivers that we get to talk to pretty often here on the broadcast. But, Bennett, listen, what a night you just had.
Did you say what a night?
Yeah, I mean, you just went from you were up there mixing it around. You take home the green and white checkered flag for stage 2. You and your brother get together. It was just an interesting night.
Yeah, I had to battle through a lot of adversity. Really proud of the Money House Racing team for bringing a good car this week. And appreciate Josh Coppernoll, as always, sponsoring me. Just a little bit frustrated by the way I got raced by my teammates tonight. You know, obviously Preston's my brother. He said he was battling a loose race car. I understand it. And I tried saving it, but there's, for some reason, where I am on track right now, there's a safer or a tire barrier sticking out like a sore thumb. So it's unfortunate that happened. But after me and Lester got together and he unfortunately got DQ'd, that I'd have a chance to win. But you know, getting wrecked out by your brother is never fun. I still love him. It's just a game. But certainly frustrating for us, as I thought I had a chance there at the end to give me another road course win. But we'll settle a second, and leading into the round of 8, hopefully we get a good, you know, 3 races that will get ourselves into the final 4.
Absolutely. You're definitely going to transfer up there into that round of 8. And, you know, it's a rough finish, but what an interesting night. You know, like I said, every time I look back at my screen, I'm like, wait a second, something else happened. Well, wait, another thing happened. You know, at first I thought it was going to be Money House Racing 1, 2, 3, and it kind of turned this top 3 into a salad bowl.
Yeah, I don't understand. From my knowledge, Joseph was trying to save tire or fuel which I totally understand. But I mean, he was blocking me and pressing. I don't understand why he was doing that. But I still love him. He's my friend. He's my day one on iRacing. But I understand that you're going for a win. You're a playoff, non-playoff driver, and you just have as much as a right as we do to be racing. But for me and Preston to be in the playoffs and the race like us like that was just didn't make us happy. But yeah, like I said, just really proud of everybody on the team. I know we had our moments, but they happen, and it's part of racing. And we'll move on. I just want to try to get this jump. Oh, okay.
Almost. That was pretty good.
Almost got it. But I appreciate everybody and all their support here on MNN and all the people who watch at home. It's really cool that we get to do this. We have some sort of fans out there watching, so we do appreciate it, us as the drivers, and it's coming from me and everybody on the SNN side. But like I said, I'm frustrated right now, so I'm not gonna have that much emotion. But
No, I feel you, man. I do. Well, we'll see what happens next week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, as you've obviously transferred into that round of 8. But congratulations tonight on at least making it here onto that second step on the podium, and we will see you next week, my friend.
yeah, see you, Dave.
All right, Bennett. And, that'll move us over here. The rough thing for Bennett is, like he just said, you're racing against family, you're racing against good friends in Joseph Lester, and sometimes racing happens, sometimes bad things happen. But speaking of bad things happening, good things happening for Andrew T. Jones in his 5th start in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. He brings home the checkered flag atop the podium. Andrew T. Jones, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. What's up, buddy?
Not much. Surprised I'm here.
Trust me, everybody's pretty shocked. I mean, once everything fell in the way that it did, I was shocked. I mean, just a great run for you tonight. I mean, here you are in that 5th start. I mean, take us through that and what your reaction was once you saw that suddenly you were P1.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had pretty good speed, like top 5, maybe top 10, but I came off of turn 1 and I knew someone had spun in front of me, so I figured it was one of them, but I didn't realize it was both of them. So I got around them and I was a little shocked and just concentrated from there on in, try to keep the pace.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you did, and you did a great job keeping that pace, extending over Bennett Allen. I mean, the Allen brothers and Joseph Lester were so dominant early on in this race, and you just hung on. And if anything that I've learned from Chris Claude and Bob Nestor and John Bawalda in this league, 3 of the guys that I really hang my hat next to, as well as Jeff Carson, it's just hang in there, keep it clean, or as clean as possible, even though that you had some damage tonight. Keep hitting your marks, log those laps, and get her done. And you sure did tonight as you bring home your very first win here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Next week, we go to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. So finally leave these road courses behind. We're getting ready to go back to the ovals, the intermediate tracks. How are you feeling about going to the desert next week?
I feel pretty good. I haven't ran these cars that often, actually. These 5 starts is probably the first 5 I've ran in like 3 or 4 years. So I do pretty good in the Cup cars at Vegas. I've won there a couple times, so hopefully I can carry that to these cars.
Yeah, man. Listen, these cars are a handful on a good day, and you were able to take this handful of a machine through this on a rough day. So, you definitely get to put a really big, bright, beautiful feather in that cap tonight. And speaking of which, who do you need to tip your cap to for this run tonight before we cut you loose?
I guess my wife would be the one thing letting me do this late at night.
Always remember, she's number 1.
Yeah. Highland Brewing for sponsoring me, and that's probably about it.
Trust me, I saw that Highland Brewing on there, and I'm familiar with the brand. I personally am a major fan and a devotee of the Yuengling Brewery here in Pennsylvania, but Highland I've heard very good things about. So why don't you go ahead, crack one open, and celebrate with your wife and the rest of your team tonight?
Yeah, appreciate it. Just might have to do that. Thank you.
All right, man. Listen, that was Andrew Jones, the winner of tonight's race here at the Roval in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's been an interesting race from start to finish, as always, here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. We've seen a lot of things go down tonight that we almost never do. We've seen some drivers get disqualified, especially skilled drivers like your Joseph Lesters and some other drivers out on track tonight. But, here we are. At this point in the race, well, at the end of the race, kind of looking over things and realizing how things can change so drastically from lap 1 to now lap 67, and just a drastic change. It's a great night for Andrew Jones as he picks up his first win, and so many other drivers doing well tonight, but unfortunately not able to bring it home like Jones did. But one last time here, we're going to take a look at that final result chart here. Andrew T. Jones, Bennett Allen, and Anthony Paggio standing on the podium tonight here at the Charlotte Roval. John Crowe Sr. from Jack Dow Motorsports in 4th position in that Blippy Chevrolet. Brad Gunn rounding out the top 5 with Jeff Carson in his number 9 Reynolds Wrap Toyota Supra. Brandon Minto in the number 12 Ford Mustang with Zach Osborne, Michael Astuto, and Chris Claude in the number 10 car, finishing in 10th position. Ricky Carmichael finishing in 11th position in the 04 Monster Energy Chevrolet Camaro tonight, with Alexander Gangler finishing in 12th. R.P. Allen, Corey Burkett, Aaron Mack, Joseph Lester, Mike Wright, John Bawalda III, Alex Princeton, and Eugenio Alonso round out the top 20. Tony Burt, Ethan Flanagan, Chad Sanner, Zach Vaughn, and Josh Coppernell round out the rest of the field tonight. And, as I say, we see a lot of names, at a super speedway, you see a lot of names up toward the top of the leaderboard that are unexpected because it's a wild card race. And the same goes for a road course race, even when it's a hybrid road course like the Roval here in Charlotte. I mean, you get some guys, like I said early on and in our open tonight, where they just happen to be a road course whisperer. And Andrew T. Jones tonight able to be that whisperer and bring home the checkered flag as he did here at Charlotte. So, folks, glad to have you guys with us here from start to finish, you guys and gals out there in YouTube and Facebook land. Thank you for making us a part of your night. I'm Dave Regal. This has been the Independence Racing Network, proudly presented by Northeastern Fire and Air. And tomorrow, as you go through your day, make sure to find that happy moment, that good moment, that happy thought, and grab that happy thought. Hang on to it, because with a happy thought, you can fly. Good night, everybody.